19 years into Hollywood's most enduring union, it has finally dissolved. The woman, synonymous with elegance, is now prepared to reveal the unvarnished truth. This is not about sensationalism. It's the genuine account of what transpired between Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. Their love, a force that weathered addiction, celebrity, and prolonged quietude, ultimately succumbed. For the very first time, we delve into the specific reasons that led to the dissolution of their 19-year partnership. Exclusive legal documents, corroborated accounts, and previously undisclosed details illuminate how a union founded on recovery ultimately unraveled with profound, understated grace. Please stay with us until the conclusion, as Nicole's ultimate disclosure may reshape your entire perspective on love. Society proclaimed their bond as one impervious to Hollywood's corrosive influences. For 19 years, 2 daughters, and a marriage that appeared immune to the ravages of fame, their story endured until it no longer could. Beneath the veneer of perfection lay a reality too delicate to withstand the relentless spotlight. Nicole Kidman, the Oscar-winning performer, capable of transforming sorrow into art. Keith Urban, the country music icon who transmuted his struggles with addiction into melodies. Together, they cultivated a love that outlasted public scrutiny, overshadowed setbacks, and redefined fidelity within an industry often characterized by dissolution. She was the anchor of tranquility, he the tempest. For almost 2 decades, they discovered a harmonious balance within this disparity, until a profound silence descended, more impactful than any ovation. As reported by the Sydney Morning Herald in September of 2025, Nicole Kidman initiated divorce proceedings, citing irreconcilable differences, not a clash of titans or a dramatic downfall, but the quiet disintegration of what was perceived as Hollywood's last authentic fairy tale. Yet the question lingers: what fractured a love that had seemingly overcome every obstacle? Was it the chasm of distance, the burden of pride, or the unresolved specters of their past? This narrative is not one of infidelity, but rather an exploration of how love erodes when profound devotion inadvertently becomes its own gilded cage. This is where our cinematic journey commences. In January of 2023, they graced the Academy Awards red carpet, exuding radiance and perfect synchronicity. Nicole's crimson gown commanded every flashbulb, while Keith, impeccably attired in his bespoke suit, gently kissed her hand amidst the adoring crowd. To the outside world, they epitomized resilience, a couple seemingly shielded from the adversities that fame could inflict. However, even on that celebrated evening, an undercurrent of unease was palpable. According to People magazine in March of 2023, their close confidants observed a palpable artificiality in their shared laughter, a forced gaiety masking an underlying strain. While their smiles were present, the effortless comfort was absent. They continued to utter the expected phrases, maintaining the personas that captivated millions. Yet, somewhere between the glare of the cameras and the closing of their limousine door, an invisible silence followed them home. This was not the prelude to an ending, but rather the precise moment they both acknowledged that maintaining the performance was far easier than confronting the truth. Over the subsequent 2 years, geographical separation evolved into an ingrained habit. Nicole's demanding filming commitments led her to London, Morocco, and Los Angeles, while Keith embarked on extensive concert tours spanning 40 American cities. The Guardian reported in May of 2024 that their time spent together that year amounted to less than 60 days. They termed it a carefully curated balance, but in reality, it was a slow drifting apart. When the film A Family Affair premiered in mid-2024, Nicole's palpable on-screen chemistry with Zac Efron garnered widespread global attention. Their interactions were playfully professional and seemingly innocuous. However, a year later, in June of 2025, this on-screen intimacy would ignite a volatile situation. During a live Zoom interview, a reporter posed a direct question to Keith regarding his feelings about the film's intimate scenes. He offered a brief laugh, then abruptly froze, disconnecting from the call moments later. The segment went viral across social media platforms with headlines proclaiming, "Keith Urban walks out mid-interview." Entertainment Tonight, in June of 2025, reported that the clip garnered over 10 million views within a single day. Those fleeting seconds of silence became the initial public fissure in their meticulously crafted facade. By late summer, speculation had intensified to a relentless pitch. Headlines blared assertions that neither party would publicly confirm. Whispers of separate existences circulated. Nicole conspicuously avoided inquiries, maintaining that they were fine, just busy. Keith ceased mentioning her during his performances. According to court documents, she filed for divorce, bringing an end to their 19 years of marriage. There were no acrimonious legal battles or apportionments of blame, merely a profound exhaustion, the kind that only sustained devotion can engender. The world reacted with shock, but those who knew them intimately were not surprised. They had witnessed the gradual widening of the chasm in real time, the slow dimming of two individuals who had once weathered all adversities, save for the elusive pursuit of peace. Even the most resilient harmonies eventually fracture, not with a cacophony, but with an encroaching silence. It was meant to be the dawn of eternity, the 25th of June, 2006. The Cardinal Soretti Chapel in Sydney, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight, witnessed Nicole Kidman making her way down the aisle in an ivory Balenciaga creation. At the altar, Keith Urban awaited, his hands unsteady, his eyes glistening. The tabloid press heralded it as a wedding straight from the pages of a storybook. But a mere 4 months later, the enchantment began to fray. In October of 2006, as reported by The Guardian, Keith voluntarily entered rehabilitation for his struggles with alcohol and cocaine addiction, a deeply guarded secret he had kept even from Nicole. This was the moment she first grasped that the essence of love could also encompass the act of rescue. While the world speculated about humiliation, Nicole remained steadfast. She commuted from Los Angeles to Tennessee every few days, composing heartfelt letters rather than issuing ultimatums. One such poignant message later found its way into Vanity Fair. "You don't have to be perfect, just be honest." This singular sentence became their unspoken covenant, the inaugural scar they bore together. Rehabilitation concluded, but the journey of recovery was ongoing. Keith emerged sober, profoundly grateful, and openly dedicated to their bond. Nicole lauded him in interviews as her most precious gift, her voice steady, her gaze holding a flicker of uncertainty. Yet, beneath the surface of her gratitude lay a deep-seated weariness. According to People magazine in 2007, she confided in a close friend, "It's beautiful, but it's a heavy burden." She was not merely his wife. She had become his essential lifeline. Every moment of relapse anxiety, every late-night telephone call, every public acknowledgement where he expressed profound gratitude for her intervention all carried an unspoken cost. Keith shared with Rolling Stone in 2012, "She saved my life, but I resented that she had to." This sentiment was not born of malice, but of a profound sense of guilt. His love for her was deep and genuine, but a bond forged on the foundation of obligation can rarely sustain its lightness. The more she shouldered, the smaller she seemed to become, and gradually the rescuer began to cast a shadow. Their connection, cemented by the imperative of survival, started to conflate healing with an unhealthy dependence. By 2008, their first daughter, Sunday Rose, entered their lives, followed 2 years later by Faith Margaret. The media celebrated this as a testament to their resilience and recovery. However, within the confines of their Nashville home, the silence persisted, growing ever more profound and pervasive. Vanity Fair, in 2013, quoted Nicole describing their marriage as an intricate tapestry, woven from grace and forgiveness. Notably, she used the word forgiveness far more frequently than love. Keith channeled his remorse into his music. The song "You'll Think of Me" earned him a Grammy, and "Without You" became an anthem of his gratitude. Each lyric served as both a declaration of love and a somber confession. Nicole stood by his side at every award ceremony, her smile unwavering as he invoked her name within his verses. Yet, once the applause subsided and the spotlights dimmed, she would invariably return to the quiet solitude of their kitchen, the familiar ache of waiting a constant companion. Their love began with an act of salvation, but once salvation is achieved, its subsequent trajectory can be uncertain. Pain often defines us before fame ever has the chance to do so. It was a lesson neither of them would ever forget, a profound wound that would resonate years later, when their unspoken thoughts finally drowned out their spoken vows. In 2010, the effervescent glow of the Country Music Association Awards shimmered like dispersed gold dust. Keith Urban ascended the stage, guitar in hand, and dedicated the song "Without You" to Nicole. The audience erupted in applause, and tears welled in her eyes. Billboard, in November of 2010, hailed it as the night's most emotionally resonant moment. For the public, it was irrefutable evidence that love conquers all. For them, it was a precarious truce. Keith's voice trembled with an earnest truth, but Nicole understood that the song's genesis lay in pain, not in a settled peace. Nevertheless, she applauded, smiled, and exchanged a public kiss with him. The New York Times proclaimed them Hollywood's definitive proof that devotion remains a marketable commodity. And indeed, it was. Nicole's portrayal in Rabbit Hole garnered her yet another Oscar nomination, while Keith's album achieved platinum status. Every photograph, every performance, every award served as a tangible symbol of their hard-won redemption. However, behind this flawless presentation, they were subsisting on a dwindling reserve of borrowed faith, and time was inexorably drawing it in. Between 2013 and 2018, they appeared utterly invincible. Nicole's performance in Big Little Lies swept the Emmy Awards, and Keith's Ripcord Tour sold out arenas across multiple continents. Variety, in 2018, declared they had defied all expectations. 2 flourishing careers, 1 shared love, and an apparent absence of fissures. Yet, cracks do not announce their arrival. They manifest as subtle whispers. Nicole's extensive filming schedules in London and Morocco meant she sometimes missed Keith's concerts. He candidly stated in an interview with CBS Sunday Morning, "We live in airports more than we live at home." This was intended as a light-hearted observation, but it held a profound truth. Geographical distance had become the ambient rhythm of their lives, a pattern they had ceased to consciously acknowledge. Phone conversations dwindled to text messages, and texts eventually gave way to an unsettling silence. When they did manage to convene, the familiar warmth was still present, but so was a palpable exhaustion. Keith once remarked during an interview with GQ, "We've learned to love in fragments." While this statement sounded poetic, it was, in essence, a stark confession. Then, the year 2020 arrived. The world collectively paused, and so did they. The enforced stillness of lockdown offered a respite neither had experienced in years. Vogue Australia, in 2021, quoted Nicole describing it as our chance to pause and heal. They engaged in shared cooking, musical collaborations, and leisurely rewatches of old films. For a period, this communal quietude seemed to mend the fraying edges of their relationship. However, tranquility possesses a unique ability to expose the very things that constant activity had previously concealed. In the absence of the external clamor of fame, they began to perceive what was fundamentally missing: genuine connection. Keith confided in People magazine in 2021, "I realized how much she carries for us." While intended as an expression of gratitude, Nicole perceived it as an acknowledgement of her overwhelming burden. As tours resumed, the physical distance reasserted itself, now imbued with a heavier significance amplified by their recent taste of profound quietude. From the outside, their marriage appeared revitalized. Internally, however, it had reverted to a state of calculated performance, and yet their efforts to sustain it never ceased. Because when love has successfully navigated the treacherous waters of addiction, the challenges of distance often feel surmountable, until, of course, they are not. Their union did not conclude amidst fiery recriminations. It ended with a series of unanswered questions. In June of 2025, Nicole Kidman sat for an interview about her romantic comedy, A Family Affair, co-starring Zac Efron. A reporter posed a seemingly simple question: how does Keith feel about the film's love scenes? She responded with that carefully cultivated, polished smile that had long served her amidst decades of public scrutiny. "He's an artist," she stated with an air of casual detachment. He understands. However, mere hours later, Keith Urban logged into his own live Zoom session with a Nashville radio station. When presented with the identical inquiry, he faltered, froze, and abruptly disconnected. According to Entertainment Tonight's June 2025 report, the clip rapidly accumulated over 10 million views within a 24-hour period. The silence emanating from that interruption spoke volumes, far louder than any verbal denial. For the first time, the viewing public glimpsed the truth they had so assiduously concealed for years. The palpable absence of ease, the subtle tremor of an undeniable reality they could no longer control. And in the relentless ecosystem of Hollywood, silence is never truly private. By midsummer, the widening chasm between them could no longer be disguised. Keith was observed alone in Nashville, engrossed in late-night recording sessions. Nicole, meanwhile, was in London promoting Expats, appearing radiant, yet conspicuously without her wedding ring. Insiders revealed to the Sydney Morning Herald in August of 2025 that they had been leading separate lives since the early summer. Rumors began to surface concerning a younger woman within the music industry, though no concrete evidence was presented, nor were any denials issued. Nicole's public response was measured, yet profoundly telling. "I've learned not to defend what time will reveal," she told People magazine in August of 2025. Beneath this composed exterior lay a shattered heart. Friends later disclosed that she had made concerted efforts to salvage the marriage, arranging for couples counseling, pausing her professional commitments, and initiating calls from every conceivable time zone. Keith, however, had become increasingly withdrawn. He confided in a bandmate stating, "I can't keep making her pay for my past." This was not an act of betrayal, but rather one of profound surrender, and at times, surrender can feel like a release until the moment it becomes irretrievable. On the 27th of September 2025, The Guardian officially confirmed what had become increasingly apparent to many. Nicole Kidman had filed for divorce in Nashville, citing irreconcilable differences. 19 years of shared history were reduced to a stack of legal documents and a deafening silence. According to court records examined by the Tennessean in September of 2025, they reached an agreement for joint custody of their daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, with Nicole designated as the primary caregiver. No alimony was requested, no protracted legal battles ensued, and no public spectacle was generated. Their final collaborative act was one of quiet dignity. Days later, when Nicole attended a United Nations gala in New York, she wore white, not as a pronouncement, but as a symbol of closure. On the same evening, Keith was seen in Tennessee, exiting a recording studio, his guitar slung across his back. There were no words exchanged, no cameras flashing, merely the solitary figure of the man who had once sung the ballad "Love Like Salvation." Even the most powerful harmonies eventually falter, not in a burst of anger, but from sheer, unyielding exhaustion. And when the music finally ceased, what remained was the profound silence of two individuals who had already conveyed all that truly mattered. By October of 2025, Nashville, the city that had once resonated with their shared laughter, now thrummed with palpable air of restraint. Outside the guarded perimeter of the estate they once called home, paparazzi patiently awaited an image that would confirm their heartbroken state, but it never materialized. Nicole Kidman had taken up residence in a smaller guest property nearby, leaving the main residence to Keith, not out of animosity, but because the very walls seemed to hold too many lingering echoes. Vanity Fair reported in October of 2025 that she began most of her mornings with solitary walks along the Cumberland River, her headphones on, though she rarely played any music. Keith, meanwhile, was observed driving alone through Franklin, a coffee in one hand, an ocean of silence in the other. He carried the unmistakable countenance of a man simultaneously liberated and profoundly lost. They engaged in no disputes, offered no public commentary, and refused to weaponize their pain. Their separation unfolded as the quietest scandal Hollywood had ever witnessed. Two individuals mourning the loss of something they consciously chose not to dismantle. Legal filings became front-page news, yet they revealed little beyond a shared commitment to decency. According to the Tennessean on the 5th of October 2025, Nicole was granted primary custody of their daughters, Sunday Rose, age 17, and Faith Margaret, aged 15. Keith was allocated visitation rights on alternating weekends and major holidays. There were no financial claims or demands for alimony. Both parties declined any form of financial support. One specific clause within the divorce decree stood out with particular significance. Neither party shall speak ill of the other in the presence of their children. This simple statement conveyed a profound narrative. Friends confided in People magazine in October of 2025 that Nicole's heartache was managed with resolute control, not with cold indifference. She prepared dinner for her daughters each evening, shared in their laughter, and found solace in weeping only in the privacy of her shower. Keith, conversely, returned to the creative outlet that had once served as his salvation: music. A studio engineer in Nashville shared with Rolling Stone that Keith had begun recording new material, describing it as more raw and unfiltered than anything produced since his rehabilitation. One particular track was simply titled "Home Without Her." When questioned about its subject matter, Keith offered a faint smile and replied, "What do you think?" In late October, the world caught two distinct glimpses of them separately, yet remarkably, they mirrored each other. Nicole appeared at the AFI Life Achievement Gala, exuding elegance and composure, expressing gratitude to those who remind us that grace is not weakness. 2 nights later, Keith took the stage at the Grand Ole Opry. Midway through his performance of "Blue Ain't Your Color," his voice faltered, cracking with emotion. He paused, lowered his guitar, and whispered, "Some songs never stop hurting." The audience responded with a collective, respectful silence. He resumed the song at a slower, softer tempo, almost as if reciting a prayer. Following these 2 poignant sentences, silence descended once more. When silence takes center stage, rhythm invariably takes heed. They had finally ceased performing. And within that profound stillness, they discovered something rarely bestowed by the outside world: respect. Their romantic love had dissipated, but their inherent kindness endured, and in the competitive landscape of Hollywood, Such enduring kindness is a rarer commodity than eternal love. By November of 2025, the initial frenzy had begun to subside. No longer were individuals leaking court documents or pursuing elusive paparazzi shots. The narrative had evolved into something more gentle and refined. It had become a portrait of two individuals who steadfastly refused to allow bitterness to complete what sheer exhaustion had initiated. The Guardian reported in November of 2025 that both Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban navigated their separation with an uncommon degree of dignity. Nicole focused her energies on her daughters, enrolling Sunday Rose in a performing arts program and accompanying Faith Margaret to a charity event in Nashville. She consistently declined opportunities to discuss the divorce, stating to Vogue Australia, "Some things deserve silence more than explanation." Keith, meanwhile, immersed himself in his musical endeavors, not in the polished, high-gloss anthems of his past, but in more introspective songs crafted during the quiet hours of the night. One particular track, The Fighter Reprise, was performed live for the first time in mid-November. Before commencing, he addressed the audience, stating, "Sometimes love wins by letting go." The crowd rose to its feet in a spontaneous ovation. He offered no smile. Instead, he closed his eyes and began to play. Their journey towards healing was not characterized by dramatic gestures, but rather by a methodical, procedural approach. People magazine reported in November of 2025 that they continued to participate in family therapy sessions, a deliberate effort to maintain harmony for their daughters. Insiders frequently describe Nicole as composed yet radiantly luminous, akin to someone finally exhaling a lifetime of held breath. Keith, for his part, opted to suspend touring for the remainder of the year, choosing instead to perform in smaller venues throughout Tennessee. He was observed visiting a recovery group he had previously attended in 2006, not due to a relapse, but, as he explained, because he felt the need to remember where it started, according to Rolling Stone in November of 2025. Nicole, ever the vigilant guardian of grace, reportedly conveyed a message to him through mutual friends. "Proud of you. Keep going." This was not an overture toward reconciliation, but rather a profound recognition of his personal journey. They were no longer husband and wife, but they had evolved into something far rarer, mutual witnesses to each other's enduring resilience. At the CMA Awards in late November, Keith Urban accepted the Humanitarian of the Year award. He dedicated the honor not to the allure of fame, but to those individuals who stayed kind when it stopped being easy. While he refrained from mentioning her by name, the underlying sentiment was unmistakably clear. Nicole, in turn, appeared days later at the Women in Film Gala, where she received the Icon Award. Her voice trembled slightly as she articulated, "The stories we tell are not about perfection, they are about persistence." For a couple who had once personified public love, their quiet dissolution became an unspoken masterclass in enduring grace. He began to truly live rather than merely perform. In the profound calm that followed the heartbreak, both discovered a sense of peace that fame had long obscured. And though their duet had reached its final note, its echo lingered, now softer, yet undeniably authentic. By December of 2025, the clamor had significantly diminished, giving way to a palpable sense of mutual respect. What had begun as a story of profound heartbreak had transformed into something far more uncommon, a real-time portrait of unwavering dignity. There were no sensational tell-all interviews, no barbed lyrical indictments, and no anonymous sources close to. Instead, there were two artists quietly navigating their distinct paths, their enduring connection still defined by their shared refusal to inflict harm upon one another. The Sydney Morning Herald reported in December that Nicole Kidman returned to Australia for the holiday season with her daughters, describing the visit as a homecoming of peace. Keith Urban remained in Nashville, diligently rehearsing for a modest charity concert scheduled for Christmas Eve. When asked to reflect on the year, he shared with a local news outlet, "It's been humbling, but that's what growth feels like." These brief sentences, devoid of defensiveness or bitterness, encapsulated a profound truth and unwavering gratitude. For the audience that had once held them in such high esteem, the lesson was unexpectedly profound. Love's true measure is not determined by its longevity, but by the grace with which it is relinquished. Nicole's devoted fan base flooded social media platforms not with outrage, but with expressions of admiration. "She didn't tear him down. She let him go kindly," read one comment that swiftly went viral beneath a clip from a Vogue interview. Keith's followers echoed this sentiment. His streaming numbers experienced a significant surge following his emotionally charged November performances. Yet every accompanying social media caption bore a simple, humble message: "Thank you for listening." Even amidst the profound pain of their separation, they managed to embody a rare model of restraint. According to People magazine in December of 2025, a close family friend remarked that they demonstrated to their daughters that endings can still be approached with love. Ultimately, it was not their fame or their fortune that would constitute their true legacy, but rather their example. In a culture often consumed by noise and sensationalism, they consciously chose silence as a powerful act of mutual respect. As the year drew to a close, their lives no longer intersected directly, yet their shared influence remained inextricably linked. Keith's poignant ballad, "Home Without Her," steadily climbed the digital music charts, not for its bitterness, but for its unvarnished honesty. Nicole, in her characteristically understated interviews, spoke of compassion rather than regret. Her concluding remarks at the Women in Film Gala resonated with a lingering, gentle echo. Love doesn't have to last forever to be real. Greatness isn't loud. It is human. That, in essence, became the narrative of their journey. Not a salacious scandal, but a profound study in human resilience. They were two individuals who loved deeply, experienced profound heartache, extended forgiveness, and ultimately parted ways without a trace of cruelty. Because sometimes the most authentic harmony is not found in the duration of a song, but in the exquisite beauty of its conclusion. The truth Nicole Kidman ultimately unveiled was not one of scandal, betrayal, or blame. It was the quiet, often unseen reality that underpins every love story the world believes it fully comprehends. It revealed that at times, The most arduous challenge is not the act of losing someone, but rather the conscious decision to release them with unwavering grace. For 19 formative years, she loved a man who was still navigating the complex journey of loving himself. She stood by him through the intoxicating highs of fame, the debilitating grip of addiction, and the profound silence that celebrity inevitably cultivates. And when that silence became an unbearable weight, she did not seek to diminish him. She chose to set him free. That was her ultimate truth, that love can possess profound authenticity even when it is not destined to endure for eternity. True nobility can eclipse profound sorrow, and conclusions, when met with empathy, possess the potential to transform into a distinct form of genesis. For what endures when the spotlight recedes is not idle chatter. It is the very essence of our shared existence. Perhaps this is the enduring gift Nicole Kidman bestows upon us. That elegance, even amidst bereavement, stands as the most potent testament. If this narrative resonated with you, convey it to an individual who still holds the conviction that affection's value is measured by its permanence. And bear in mind, occasionally, the most authentic accounts are not those emblazoned in the news, but rather those spoken softly in hushed tones.